More than 2 hours before kickoff, CBS showed an image of Taylor Swift in a sleek black tank top, red satin Chiefs jacket over her shoulder and her hair in a pony next to Ice Spice and Blake Lively at the stadium. Taylor Swift walked into the stadium following her mother, Allison Swift. She walked with Blake Lively, who has attended a Chiefs game with Swift. And she brought Karma collaborator Ice Spice, whom she was spotted with at the Grammys last week. Taylor Swift's epic dash to the Super Bowl is over after the singer landed into Las Vegas Harry Reid International just before 1 p.m. local time, and with more than 2 hours to go before the game kicks off, the pop megastar was photographed getting off her plane in Sin City after a flight that lasted less than 40 minutes. The 34-year-old was then whisked away in a convoy of blacked-out SUVs headed for Allegiant Stadium where Super Bowl 58 will be held. She was joined in the front seat of the car by her dad Scott, and given a police escort of 3 cars as she weaved through the packed city to the football stadium. Swift's arrival concludes an odyssey that started in Tokyo, Japan on Saturday night. With the singer making a dash to the airport at approximately 9:30 p.m. local time, she then boarded a jet, callsign the Football Era, that flew her 7 hours to Los Angeles, where she was photographed disembarking at LAX. After a night at her palatial Beverly Hills home, Swift was back on the move, boarding her own jet at Burbank just before 12 p.m. local time, just across town in Vegas. At almost exactly the same time Taylor touched down, Travis was spotted arriving at the stadium for the game. The Kansas City Chiefs star wore an all-black, sparkly outfit fit for an occasion as big as this as he and his teammates headed into Allegiant Stadium. Swift, meanwhile, will be joined by the likes of Jason and Kelce at the game. The other Kelce pair were seen celebrating a big win at the Cosmopolitan Hotel Casino on Saturday night. Travis' mom, Donna, is also in attendance at Super Bowl 58 and was captured by NatFL soaking up some of the pre-game atmosphere on Sunday morning. Kelce is seeking his 3rd Super Bowl triumph in 5 years this evening, and the desire to lift the Vince Lombardi trophy again is clearly as strong as ever. Earlier this week at the Grammys, host Trevor Noah, perhaps bravely, made a Taylor Swift joke. As Taylor moves around the room, the local economy around her improves, he said, gesturing at her. Look at that. It wasn't entirely a joke. It's been estimated Swift's Eras tour generated $5 billion in the U.S. economy. The U.S. Federal Reserve even singled her out for stimulating the national tourism industry. If Taylor Swift were an economy, said Dan Fleetwood, the president of Question Pro, the research company that made that estimate, she'd be bigger than 50 countries. Her impact can already be felt in Australia, where Sydney and Melbourne are busy preparing for her arrival next week. It is expected that Swift's 7 concerts in the 2 cities, 3 in Melbourne and 4 in Sydney, will generate $140 million, according to state government modeling. More than 85% of the hotels and motels in Melbourne City are booked during her first 2 shows. A similar capacity is expected in Sydney. Qantas added an extra 11,000 seats on flights to both cities. Australian bead sales are reportedly through the roof, as Swifties prepare friendship bracelets to exchange at her shows. Some fans have reportedly been outraged that they can only bring as many friendship bracelets as they can wear on their arms, but this was Swift's team's call. It's unlike anything we've ever seen before, at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, where it is expected that Swift will play to the biggest crowds of her career, about 86,000 every night. Construction is well underway on 3 huge merchandise marquees, which officials hope will alleviate pressure inside. Swift's Eras tour has shattered attendance records at venues everywhere from Nashville to Brazil. Her Australian shows are unlikely break national attendance records. Ed Sheeran set a new record at the MCG with 109,500 last year, as her large stage and long runway will leave less space for fans. My struggle to avoid Taylor Swift concert spoilers is nearing its glorious end still. The Eras tour remains one of the biggest operations the MCG has staged. The adjacent Brunton Avenue will be closed for more than a week as trucks deliver parts of Swift's stage then carted out afterwards. More than 12,000 SQ meters of turf is on hand to repair the damage to the ground ahead of AFL season. More than 5,000 MCG staff will be working at each concert. We've never had staffing numbers like that before, says Josh Eltringham, the MCG's venue and event services general manager, who has been working on the Swift concerts for 18 months. The amount of infrastructure that's coming, you only have to look out at the marquees. We've never had those before because the demand and hype is so real. It's unlike anything we've ever seen before and, I think, anything we'll ever see again. In Sydney, about 300,000 Swifties are expected at Accor Stadium over the 4 nights. Concertgoers are being urged to leave their cars at home, with extra pressure being placed on parking infrastructure as 100,000 more people are expected over the same nights at nearby Blink 182 shows. Both cities are putting on extra trains and buses, though only Sydney is offering free public transport as part of ticket purchase. Final numbers are yet to be settled on, but Transport for NSW has confirmed hundreds of extra train and bus services will run to the area each night. The 4-night concert series is expected to be one of the biggest at the precinct to date, and we want Swifties to enjoy the experience, said the TFNSW Executive Director of Customer Journey Management, Craig Moran, who asked concertgoers to plan ahead, leave plenty of extra travel time and, most importantly, be prepared for crowds and queues for transport, especially after the concert. The battle to stop tailgating, while some Swifties around the world have gone to great lengths to get good spots, including some in Argentina who used an elaborate timetable to line up for 5 months, Accor Stadium and the MCG hope to deter ticket holders from turning up too early. The MCG is instructing ticket holders not to line up outside the stadium before 2:30 p.m. on the day of each concert and said any overly early attendees will be moved into nearby Yarra Park. Gates at both stadiums will open about 4:30 p.m. Earlier this week, the Victorian Premier, Jacinta Allen, announced that there were plans to prevent what she called tailgating at the MCG, fans without tickets gathering outside to experience the concert anyway. Outside the MCG in Accor, police, emergency services and security staff will be on hand to manage tailgaters, who will be moved on if they are drinking or setting up tents. Both venues have pleaded with people to stay away, stressing that there will be no screens outside the venues broadcasting what is happening inside. But there is a sense that everyone involved knows they're fighting a losing battle. On Sunday, Allen said, "We know there's also the experience of being around the event. If the first night in Melbourne is too chaotic or unsafe, MCG management will work with police to reassess what they do at the next show," Eltringham said. "I hope some do listen to us," he added. "Of course some people won't and will be prepared for that." In Sydney and Melbourne, extra merchandise stands have been set up outside the stadiums. It might seem like a lot of faff, but Swift merch is particularly coveted. At her shows in the US, where it is estimated she made $300 million in merch sales, there were reports of people camping out for days, hiding under delivery trucks and spending thousands just to buy certain items, like a particular blue sweatshirt that was only on sale at her shows and became hugely popular. A band hoodie is going to always set you back $100, but what she does, that is unique, is she makes everything limited edition, and that traps you into thinking you're going to miss out, says Dr. Georgia Carroll, the world's only dedicated Taylor Swift academic.